Yomi. We're on page 85. 18. It is permitted to walk on snow or mud with shoes that have words on the bottom. So let's say you have a Hugo Boss, and every time you walk, you put Hugo Boss everywhere, right? That's allowed. It's not a sur, it's not your fault. Similarly, one may make a shadow of a letter, a picture with his hand. Okay, Well, even of the bottom of the shoe will imprint words as he's walking the snow and mud. Fine, good. 19. Writing on one's skin with a pen or a marker is considered Kotev, even though it will eventually go away due to the perspiration and the oils of a person's skin. 20. One may not make shapes or letters with food, such as writing letters with chocolate cream on a cake, designs on the peels of fruits or vegetables, or even setting up food in the shape of a letter. I put bananas to make a letter in the shape, it's a sur. 21. Aside from the issue of using electricity on Shabbat, it's also a violation of Kotev to print something on Shabbat. Now, interesting, we're going to learn that there's Kotev and there's Mohek. Mohek is erasing, it's the opposite of writing. Sometimes you have a cake with a birthday, happy birthday, right? So definitely to pipe. Let's say you had cream already made before Shabbat, and you want to pipe the cream on the cake and to make a happy birthday, to write with it, that would be a sur, because we said it applies to food, right? Also, right. But what about if I want to break the happy birthday, right? I want to cut the cake. So we're going to learn later. It says that the words that are made out of icing on a cake may be cut or broken with a knife or one's hands, and it's not an issue of mohayk. However, preferably, you should only break it with the writing with one's mouth, right? Meaning you shouldn't break the piece that has the happy birthday. You should give that piece that has the happy birthday to somebody, and they should eat it and break it like that. But preferably, to avoid this issue of writing and mohayk, you should tell the people who make the cake to put it on a little piece of plastic, and then that way you could just lift the plastic off, and then you could cut the cake. Because if you write it on the thing, actually, it's an issue either on Kotev or Mohek. 22. Drawing or painting a meaningful picture is prohibited as a Tolada Melacha of Kotev. A lot of times the kids, they like to color on their free time. So you have to be careful. The kids don't color on Shabbat. A lot of times they're quiet. Why are they so quiet? What are they doing? You find them, they took crayons and they're coloring on Shabbat, drawing on Shabbat. That's a story. You have to teach them not to do that on Shabbat. 23. It is rabbinically prohibited to make an enduring mark that has no inherent meaning, but will serve to remind the one who made it of something that needs to remember, right? So let's say a person, he puts a mark on something, and that'll be a reminder that I have to go change the laundry after Shabbat. So that it's rabbinically prohibited to make that enduring mark. 24. It is prohibited to dip one's finger in ink and make a fingerprint marking. 25. What if I want to make a small mark on a page of a book? I should remember where I'm up to. One may make a small marking with his fingernail on a page to remember to refer back to that place afterwards. Or folding. 26. One may fold over the corner of a page on Shabbat, even though it leaves a mark after it's unfolded, since your primary intention is not to create the mark, rather just to make a reminder with the fold. 27. According to some poskim, if a book has words or letters that's stamped on the edge of the pages, it is forbidden to open and close the book. So let's say you have a book, and on the side it says, over here, property of Beth Gabriel, whatever it is. And every time you open the book, you break the letters. So some poskim say it's a sur because you're breaking the writing. However, halacha follows like the more lenient opinions, and therefore, person will be allowed to open and close his book. Sometimes you have some shuls that they have parochet, but the parochet doesn't slide all the way one side. It opens like this, in half. Right? You have a thing like this on the side, and it opens in half. It says, Etz Chaim Hin Mahazikim Ba. Right? It has a pasuk on it. And what happens? When you open it, you break the letters. You're separating them. So a person who's doing Ptiha and that Beit Knesset, even though there's letters on both sides, it is permitted to open and close those letters. Okay, good. Let's say somebody you have a page where you're reading Halacha, and someone ripped the page in half, and I want to put the two pages together, so now it's readable, so I can read it. It's permitted to put together two halves of a torn page, even if the page is torn in the middle of a letter. What are you saying?
I was saying, what's the difference between that and the book?
The book, what book?
You're opening up the book where the letters are on the side.
Yeah, you're right. They're both permitted. They're both permitted. They're both permitted. Okay, 30. It is permitted to open a combination lock that has several rotating wheels and requires forming a word or a set of numbers in order to open it. Sometimes you have a locks that have four things, and you have to put words. You can put letters or you put numbers in order they're allowed to do that on Shabbat. Okay, 31. It is permitted to make and to take apart a puzzle on Shabbat. However, one should be careful to spread out all the pieces before putting it together to avoid issues of borer. Similarly, it will be permitted to play with loose blocks or cards that have letters on them, even if you spell a word. Comes out that the Scrabble, right? Scrabble, you're allowed to play according to this when you put the letters next to each other. It's not a problem. The question is, do they have to write when they play Scrabble? I think originally they used to write down the points and all this stuff, so you can't play with those stuff. That if you're gonna write down, it's asur. But just putting the letters in, or they play this game bananagrams, right? It has tiles, and you have to make letters or words with these tiles. That would be permitted to put them next to each other on the Shabbat. 32. On Shabbat, it is rabbinically prohibited to measure or to weigh items as food or with food or the drink, even with a small scale or a ruler. Let's say someone takes a ruler, I want to see how big it is. It's a mechanical ruler. It's a sort of measure on Shabbat. Or let's say a person says, how tall is this doorway? He takes out tape measure. And he says, oh, it's 80 inches. No, you can't do that on Shabbat. What about scale? Even mechanical scale. For my health, I only eat a certain amount of this amount of sugar a day. You know, this has, how heavy is this? He wants to weigh it. It's a surah on Shabbat, even mechanical scale. 30, what? Oh, for a mitzvah. Oh, let's see, 1 second. So that was talking about where it was not a mitzvah. 33. Even counting the tiles on the floor to find out how big a room is also should not be done. 34 is permitted to turn on the tap water, even though the meter is going to count how much water is being used. 35. One may weigh and measure to fulfill a mitzvah, right? So let's say weigh matzah, maror, bread. I want to eat. The guy's on a diet. I want to eat exactly kazayit of bread, no more. So he wants to weigh the bread, how much kazayit. That way he'll fulfill the mitzvah. 36. Let's say someone's Yom Kippur, right? He needs to eat in increments. He's allowed to weigh on Yom Kippur, the non-electric scale, how much he's allowed to eat. What? So he's saying watching his health is he's taking care of himself, so that way it should be allowed to weigh the. Okay, I have to look into that. Maybe, yeah, could be. I have to look into that. What? So the Chachamim did it because Gzera Mishum Kotev. Measuring will most likely lead to writing, because usually people measure and then they write it down. So therefore, this is why this is under this Melacha. Okay, good. 37. One may count the steps in order to know how far the tchum is on Shabbat. So that's a mitzvah reason. One may not weigh himself on Shabbat, even on a mechanical scale, unless it's for health reasons. So you see? Health reasons. One may also not measure his height. Two boys, they're fighting with each other. I'm taller, no, I'm taller, and they want to measure each other. So 39. One who needs to weigh his food for the purpose of a diet may only do so if he must diet for health purposes, but not if he's already a healthy person. So the doctor said you gotta watch your weight. You can't gain more weight. So okay. So I gotta be on a diet. I gotta measure my food. But a guy says, listen, it's the summer. I wanna, fit in. I wanna lose. I wanna go down another size. I wanna look a certain way. That not necessarily is for health reasons. Baruch Hashem.